Those who are joining us online for being with us today for this very important program. Today's program is being streamed live via our League Facebook page, and it will later be available via the League's website and on our YouTube channel. Now, if you have not already done so, if you would please silence your cell phones. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to start by acknowledging our sponsors who helped us put on events like this. Our bronze sponsors, Lynn and David Berelsman, and Voting Voices, Big Voices, which include Charlie Williams, Lori and Richard Wack, and Michelle Levy. And our visionary sponsors, who unfortunately could not be with us this morning, Jennifer and Phil Anderson. We thank you for your support. And if we could ask all the sponsors who are here today to please stand so that we can thank you. If any of you are interested in learning more about sponsorships, I'd be very happy to chat with you about opportunities. My email address is vp@lwvoc.org, or we can talk after the program. I will now ask that all elected officials or anyone who is running for office to come to the side mic and introduce yourselves. I also want to clarify that this does not include the judicial candidates who we'll be hearing from later, so you can just take it easy for a few minutes. So anyone who is an elected official or is running for office, declared to run for office, please go to the side mic, quickly introduce yourself. We do have a very packed program today, so we want to do speed dating here. I know you're not shy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Senator-elect Carlos Guerrero Smith, Florida.
I forgot to say, please hold your applause until everybody has introduced themselves.
Too late. On June 14th, I was elected to Senate District 17 without opposition to a 4-year term. Thank you, Orlando.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Scott Randolph. I am your Orange County tax collector. I will be on your August 20th ballot, so make sure you go out and vote. Thanks.
Sunshine Grunt, I'm running for your supervisor of elections in Orange County, so make sure you save that date, August 20th.
I'm Stephanie Vanos. I'm running for Orange County School Board on the August 20th election.
I'm Ann Copenhaver, and I represent the Urban Orlando Community Development District, seat number 4, and I too was elected unopposed on June 14th.
Woo!
Hello, my name is Lenora Easter, and I'm running for Public Defender of the 9th Judicial Circuit. The primary is August 20th. Thank you.
I'm Dan Helm. I'm running for Orange County Supervisor Elections. My website is votedanhelm.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Lori Wurtzel, and I'm the current Vice Mayor of Maitland.
Good afternoon. I am Allison Cresty, Circuit Judge serving Orange and Osceola County.
Hi, I'm Melissa Vickers. I am the past Vice President of the League, and I'm running for Public Defender in Orange and Osceola counties. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Kelly Semrad. I'm running for Orange County District 5 Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you all. What a lineup. But it is now time to get judgmental. The past few weeks have certainly driven home the tremendous impact judges have on our lives. And while it is unlikely that any of us will end up in front of the Supreme Court, there is more of a likelihood that we will end up in a local courthouse. And that's when it hits home to you how important our local judges are. For local races, August 20th is as important as the presidential election on November 5th. August is when the Orange and Osceola circuit judges and the Orange County judge will be up for election. Today we have 11 local judicial candidates who will be squaring off to explain why they should get your vote to be the next county or circuit court judge. You will hear from 2 Orange County judicial candidates, followed by 9 candidates for 4 races in the 9th Circuit Court. The 9th Circuit Court covers the Orange and Osceola counties. And we are very, very fortunate to have 2 very experienced 9th Circuit Court judges today to moderate our forum. The Honorable Leticia Marques and the Honorable Reginald Whitehead. Judge Marques is a graduate of Georgetown Law. After receiving her Juris Doctor, she went to work at the Public Defender's Office, followed by years in private practice. In 2012, she made a life-changing decision to run for the bench, and she won. She officially joined the 9th Circuit in 2013, and today she is the first Hispanic female judge in Central Florida. Judge Whitehead is a graduate of the University of Florida College of Law. He began his career as an assistant state attorney under the leadership of State Attorney Robert Egan and the mentorship of Belvin Perry Jr. He was appointed to the bench in 1993 by Governor Lawton Chiles and is currently the most senior and one of the most valued judges on the bench. Judge Marques will lead off our forum today. Will you please join me in welcoming her to the podium?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Before we start, let me explain the difference for those who... Is it on? Okay. God, this is what I do, people in my courtroom. Can't hear you. Anyway, good afternoon. Before we start, I'm going to explain the difference for those who don't know it between county and circuit court. Still can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. I'll stay this close, I promise. You're my monitor. Okay. All right. County court judges, it's a jurisdictional difference, that's all it is. County court judges hear criminal misdemeanors, that's any crime that has a sentence up to 1 year in jail, and civil cases where the disputed amount is $50,000 or less. Circuit court judges hear all criminal felonies, anything that's more than 1 year potential penalty, domestic relations, juvenile matters, probate, guardianship, and civil cases where the dispute is more than $50,000. All right, let me go over the process of the forum real quickly for the candidates and the audience. In the interest of time, candidates are introduced by name only. You can find their complete bios on the league's website. hot topics page. Candidates will come to their places in order by group. They will each have 2 minutes to give an opening statement. After that, I will ask each of them 3 questions, and the candidates have 1 minute to respond to these questions. We'll begin in alphabetical order by last name and then alternate. There is a timekeeper in the front, if she would raise her hand. She will signal the candidates with the time remaining and the time to stop. Stop is a hard stop, and for those of you who've been in my courtroom, you know I have absolutely no problem telling you, okay, thank you, counselor, that's enough. So please don't make me do that. For the audience, we ask that you hold your applause until each group is finished. We do want to honor the candidates by remaining silent so that we're not taking away from their response time. And with that, if I would please call up group number 11, Lisa Gong Guerrero and Judge Adam Keith McGinnis. You can pick whatever table you like.
Hello.
All right, have a seat.
This one on?
I don't know. Our official, is this one on? Can you hear, let's try your mics. Hello.
Hello.
All right, beginning with you, Ms. Guerrero, your introductory statement, please.
Okay. Good morning, afternoon. I'm Lisa Gong Guerrero, and it's an honor to be here today. I was here a few luncheons ago, and this was the place where I first announced to a big group that I was running for Orange County Judge. So you guys have a special place in my heart. But I'm not a politician. I've never ran a judicial campaign. What I am is a mom who drives a minivan. I'm a wife. My husband's in the audience somewhere. I'm a career public servant. I am also an immigrant who came to this country when I was 5, who had to work hard to be able to stand in front of you today to say that I'm a candidate for Orange County Judge. I believe that our county needs experienced trial judges who really care and understand about the people in the community. It's time for a fresh perspective, and I think a fresh perspective backed by substantial legal experience can make a positive impact in our judicial system. I have 145 jury trials in my 18 years as a prosecutor with the state attorney's office. I've conducted trials in circuit and county level. I am the only candidate here that has been recognized by the Orange County Bar Association for her professionalism, civility, and integrity. I'm also the only candidate that is board certified in criminal trials, which is only about 5% of eligible members. Lastly, as an immigrant, I've learned how to work hard. I've seen how my parents had to survive. I've been into places where I didn't speak English. I've had to translate for my parents when they had to go get a driver's license. I think it's about time that Orange County, this perspective is represented in Orange County, and I'd be honored to have your vote on or before August 20th. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Judge McGinnis.
Good morning, everyone. I'm your Orange County Judge, Adam McGinnis. This is actually my 3rd time speaking in front of the League of Women Voters. I was first elected in 2012, got about 54.5% of the vote. And then I was reelected in 2018 with 65.5% of the vote. I've been a judge for 12 years here in Orange County. During my 12 years in Orange County, I've served in every division in county court, including 2 specialized divisions, a civil division. In fact, today I had to inform Judge Marques what the jurisdictional limits were in county civil.
Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome. Glad I could help. So to talk about experience, I've been an attorney now for roughly 19, 20 years. I've been on the bench for 12 years. During my 3 campaigns, this one being my 3rd, I've received overwhelming support from the legal community in the form of donations, volunteering, hosting, and in a number of different ways. I'm the only candidate that has handled a case outside of criminal court. As we know, county court is the people's court. We have small claims, we have civil. My opponent has tried 0 cases, has handled 0 cases, in any of the divisions outside of criminal. She is a criminal attorney, and she doesn't have any experience outside, but she is a very good criminal attorney, so I would never say anything bad about her. But experience matters when it comes to county court. We're the first level that people see, and we're the only level that most people see when it comes to seeing a judge. So with my last few seconds, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but if you have supported me in any way, endorsed me, volunteered, donated, hosted an event, please raise your hand. I know raise it up high so people can see you. All right. Talk to the people that have their hands raised, and they'll tell you more about me and my credentials. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. On to the questions, and we're going to, as we said, we're going to switch now, so we'll start with Judge McGinnis. What is the most important characteristic of a judge?
In county court, I believe it's humility. The people that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, they don't want to be in court. Most of them are unrepresented by counsel. Most of them are scared. They're intimidated. And if they come before a judge that doesn't understand where they're coming from and doesn't have a way to relate to them, oftentimes they'll lose the judicial system will lose their credibility in their eyes. And so if you serve with humility and you serve on the same level as the people that come before you, they feel comfortable. They have their day in court. You may rule against them, you may rule for them, but I think at the end of the day, most of those people appreciate their experience that they had in county court, and keeping that trust is what's important to all the people that appear before county court judges. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Guerrero, same question.
I think it's humility, and I also, treating people with dignity and, being civil and professional. I think in county court, we have a lot of people who represent themselves, a lot of people who don't speak the language, a lot of people who comes to court for the very first time and don't know what to expect. They're scared, they're afraid. I've been one of those people. Growing up, I had to go with my mom to get a driver's license and translate for her. In civil court, in county court, there are no translators available. So judges are having to find people in the back of the room to help translate. I've been through that experience. I can understand that experience, and I can serve the people with that experience, and I think it's time for that experience to be reflected. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next question. Please discuss your trial experience and discuss how it impacts your ability to be a judge. And we'll begin with you, Ms. Guerrero.
So trial experience, I have 145 jury trials ranging from misdemeanors to first-degree murder. Of the 145, I've tried 13 homicide trials. My last homicide trial was last year. I think that's important because county court is also a trial court, meaning that they do a lot of trials. So judges need to know how to, rule in trial, understand the rules of evidence. Rules of evidence in civil and criminal trials, they're about the same. So with my massive or substantial criminal trial experience, that will translate to civil trials as well. And you need judges who are experienced with trials to help guide some of these pro se litigants and also young attorneys who are handling cases that affect people's lives, who have just graduated from law school or who are still in law school. Because a lot of your misdemeanor county court cases are being handled by interns or newly graduate law students. Thank you.
Judge McGinnis.
Thank you. As I stated, I'm the only candidate in this race that's actually handled a civil case. I'm currently in a civil division. I've probably tried over 1,000 non-jury trials in county civil. I've tried 4 or 5 jury trials in county civil. Last year, I was assigned to a specialized division. I tried more cases, or I tried almost the exact amount of cases as the rest of the county judges combined. So I have more trial experience than any county judge in the county over the last 12 years. I'm the only candidate that's tried cases in civil, in domestic, and in criminal. And I think that my experience across the board is what separates me in this race. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, last question, starting with Judge McGinnis. Do you think the court system is working, or do you believe the civil or criminal justice system is breaking down?
So I firmly believe that we have the best system in the world. I wouldn't want to be a part of this system if I didn't believe that. I wouldn't run for office 3 times and try and keep my position if I didn't believe that. I wouldn't have gone to law school if I didn't believe it. Is the system perfect? No. Is there a perfect system out there? No. Are there areas that we can do better? Yes. And just as society evolves, I think the court systems need to evolve. And so I've worked hand in hand with some of the administrative judges coming up with different pilot projects in order to address certain needs of certain people. A lot of times now we're doing specialized courts and we're doing problem-solving courts. We have veterans court. We tried a suspended license diversion program. In 2000 and I think 15 and 17, I was the #1 referrer to veterans court. So is there room to grow? Yes. Are we working on it? Always. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Guerrero.
You know, I think if we are complacent and we think the system is perfect, then there's never going to be progress, right? There's always room for improvement. Prior to going to law school, I was in the business sector. I was a consultant for Accenture. I was tasked with going to companies and evaluating their businesses and giving them solutions to optimize and make their businesses more efficient. That's the experience that I bring to the table with my extensive legal experience. In fact, the driver's license diversion program that my opponent just mentioned was a program that I spearheaded and that I created from the state attorney's office. It's the business experience with the extensive legal experience and the proven leadership that will move our judicial system forward and that will improve our judicial system. And I would love the opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these are your candidates for Group 11, the Orange County Judge race, Lisa Gong Guerrero and Judge Adam McGinnis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we're moving to the first of the circuit judge races. This is Group 5, Joy Goodyear and LaShawnda Jackson. You ready?
I think so.
All right. Starting with you, Ms. Goodyear, your 2-minute introductory statement, please.
Okay. My name's Joy Goodyear. I think it's important when you pick a judge to understand their background, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. I was raised by a single mother, a mother that had to work 3 jobs in order to support me. She taught me about hard work, compassion, and perseverance. There's a little story I can tell you that kind of explains all of this. She had her paycheck one day. She had cashed it. We went to the grocery store. She put it in the cart as she was shopping, and when she turned around, it had been stolen. She was crying, she was upset, she was distraught. She looked at me, saw that I started to get upset. She immediately composed herself and said, "You know what? They must have needed it more than us." That's compassion, that's perseverance, and that's what I've been taught. I had to work at McDonald's starting at the age of 15 to help support my family. I worked 32 hours because if I worked over, they would have to give me benefits. After I worked at McDonald's, when I was in high school, I had a teacher that took me under his wing and he told me I should go to college. So that's what I decided to do. He had a judge come and speak to our class. That judge talked about how she was able to help people, how she was able to bring people in front of her and listen to their disputes and solve their problems. And I decided not only am I going to go to college, I'm going to go to law school and I'm going to be a judge. And that's what I want to do. After I graduated law school, I thought, what can I do to best prepare myself? And I thought, I want to help people. I want to give back to the community. So I worked for the public defender's office. I have worked there for 26 years. I have loved working there. It has been so fulfilling to represent people that have nobody else to stand up for them. But I would like to help more people, and that's why I'm running for judge. I don't want to just represent people charged with crimes. I want to help victims of crimes, people involved in civil disputes, people involved in family court. And that's why I ask for your support, and I ask you to consider voting for Joy Goodyear. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goodyear. Ms. Jackson, your opening statement, please.
Good afternoon. My name is LaShawnda Jackson, and I've done pretty well for a little girl who grew up in the projects of East Mims. A girl who spent her winter breaks picking oranges to make money for the family. A little girl who didn't know any lawyers, who didn't know any judges, didn't know any professional people, but here she is. Why me, why now? I am LaShawnda Jackson. I have been an attorney working here in Orange County for 22 years. 22 years I will celebrate working at the same law firm, where I handle a variety of cases representing individual people, small businesses, governmental entities, and some of the biggest corporations in this world. I did that by defying every single statistic that said I would not make it. And I am here running for circuit court judge because I believe that I have the leadership, I have the experience, and I have the fairness that is going to be required to administer justice to everyone. I am here, I am running because I have already proven myself. I've worked on this since I went to Girl State. I was telling somebody earlier when I was in high school. There I was elected as a Florida Supreme Court Justice and got to put on a robe. And that was my dream. And everything I've done since then has been to prepare me for this role. I am a past president of the Orange County Bar Association, a past president of the Paul C. Perkins Bar Association, a past president of the Virgil Hawkins Florida Chapter, National Bar Association, and did all this while working a full-time job. Why? Because I believe in giving back to my community here in Orange County where I work and where I live. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, first question, and we'll start with you, Ms. Jackson. What do you believe are the qualities that are the most important for a judge, and what are the greatest challenges of being a judge?
A quality I think is essential is integrity. We have to have judges who are going to look at the law and apply the law, and they have to apply it to everybody the same. It shouldn't matter what you look like. It shouldn't matter the color of your skin. It shouldn't matter how much money you have. That judge should rule on the law based on the facts of every single case. One of the things I think is hard for a lot of judges is the caseload. There's a massive caseload. We have an influx of people moving here to Orange and Osceola County. Again, one of the things that I've been doing to prepare myself is getting into position to be able to run a docket. In the last several years, I've had a caseload of about 250 to 300 cases where I managed a team of attorneys and staff working on cases throughout the state of Florida, including here in Orange and Osceola County.
Same question, Ms. Jackson.
I think the most important thing for a judge to be is compassionate and to have empathy. When people come before you, they're scared, they're intimidated. They're usually there on their worst day, or they're there to talk to you about their worst day. I think if we can show them that we're there to listen, that we haven't already closed our mind, we haven't already made up our mind, that we're going to actually give them the time that they need, that is the most important quality. Maybe they won't win the case, but at least they'll feel like they had their day in court, and that's what they're there to receive. So I think that's definitely the most important thing. I do think the caseload issue is important. As a public defender, I have dealt with that for 26 years. I've had to work my caseload down. It's a priority of mine. When I started on my second to last docket, I had 150 cases. I worked very diligently, and I was able to get that down to 70, and those are cases that are solely mine. I don't have any help on those. And then when I moved to another docket, because there was a backlog, I had 175, and my caseload right now is 46.
Thank you. All right, this question will start with you this time, Ms. Goodyear. As a prospective judge, what do you consider is your greatest strength and your greatest weakness?
My greatest strength would be my desire to help. That's what's motivated me to go to law school. It's what's motivated me to be a judge. It's what's motivated me to do almost everything I've done in my career. So I think that's my biggest strength. I think I can relate to people. I've been through a lot. I've experienced a lot. And not only that, but I've worked with people, my clients, who have been through even more, who have it worse than I do. So I know what that's like. I know what they're going through. My biggest weakness is probably going to be my work-life balance. I have a hard time not getting carried away. I've wanted to be a judge since I was 17. So, my youngest is leaving home, and I'm going to be an empty nester with a lot of time on my hands. So I do feel like I might get a little carried away with just being a judge only and forgetting that I'm also a wife and a mother. So that would be my biggest weakness.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson, same question.
I think my strongest characteristic is my work ethic. I will work and work and work. I've been doing that for 22 years. I've been managing and handling various bar organization work as well as my own work at work. And I guess weakness probably too would be the work-life balance because of my work ethic. I will take that work ethic to the bench and work and efficiently administer justice to everybody who comes before me.
Thank you. All right, this is a sort of a two-part question. I'm going to start with you, Ms. Jackson. The circuit judges are, well, all judges are elected for 6-year terms. If you're elected, what is the minimum number of years you intend to serve before seeking a judicial post at a higher level? And what is your commitment to serving out your term?
Be there 6 years if you put me there, I'll tell you that. And probably a lot more. I'm a trial lawyer. I have no interest in being an appellate lawyer. We had a joke in our trial team when I was in high school that we do it without briefs. And we had a shirt with a guy behind a podium, didn't have him paint. But what it really means is that I am committed to Orange County. I am loyal to Orange County. I have worked here for 22 years. I've worked at the same firm for 22 years. So I have no intention of going anywhere.
Ms. Goodyear?
Kind of the same answer. I definitely would do the 6 years. I'm hoping to do a lot more than that. I have no desire to go beyond the trial court level. As I've told you, my motivation is to help people, to interact with people. That's what I love. For part of my career, I was doing appeals and writs, which kind of removed me from the clients for a couple years, and I didn't like that. I went back to the courtroom where I could interact with clients and the people, the members of the courtroom. That's where I thrive. That's where I belong. So I would not want to move up at all. I would like to stay at the circuit court level where I can deal with all the cases that I've always wanted to do, such as juvenile cases, family law cases, and criminal cases, as well as civil. So I definitely will be here the 6 years, hopefully a lot longer, and I have no desire to move on.
Thank you both very much. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your candidates for Group 5. And now we're going to move on to Group 15, this is Circuit Court also. Judge Jeffrey Ashton, Chris Mack, and Alicia Peyton, please. Mr. Mack, can you check that mic, make sure it's working? Okay, great. All right, introductory statements, beginning with you, Judge Ashton.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I think it's afternoon now. When I was thinking about this, I had this intense feeling of deja vu, like I've been here before. And I realized that I have been here before. Actually, this is my 4th time appearing before you in candidate-related interviews, but most specifically, 8 years ago, I appeared before you. I was an elected official. I was the incumbent. I thought I'd done a pretty good job in that position. I was on the ballot. I was opposed by a small part of the community that didn't like the way I did my job. I appeared before you. I talked about how I thought I'd done my job, and everything in my history informed you of who I am and what I'm going to do. I do want to say a couple of things. The first off is that though Judge Whitehead is our most experienced circuit judge, I am the oldest. I started my career in the law at 23. I was one of the youngest assistant state attorneys ever to be hired. And in the 43 years since then, I've learned a great deal. I've served this community faithfully for all that period of time. And I think I heard this in a gospel song once, may my work speak for me. And I would just commend you to my work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge Ashton. Mr. Mack.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Mack. My journey is a little different. It hasn't been as long. I'm 46 years old. But I didn't become a lawyer. I didn't even go to law school until I was 33. And what was I doing all that time? Well, I was gaining experience and experiencing the world. I'm fascinated by us as a community, as a society, as a species, as humans. And I enjoy all the interactions I have with people. You know, I traveled all over the world. I've been to China and many other exotic locales. And my travels have taught me that we have a lot of positive things going for us in the community. and I align myself with that. I look for, in any chance I get, to see what I can do to better society, to leave this place a better place than it was before I was here, to try to be the person to others that I wish I had growing up. Try to reduce the amount of suffering in this world, which is copious. There's a lot of suffering going on in this world. And so what I have done to this point is be very introspective, read as much as I can, so that I can go ahead and see how my qualities and skills can advance those goals I'm looking to solve and achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. Ms. Peyton.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alicia Peyton, and I sit and now stand before you as a candidate for Circuit Judge here in Group 15, Orange and Osceola County. As a native Central Floridian, I want you to know that I come to you with a bevy of experience. I have 15 years of experience practicing in criminal and civil law. I have litigated 20 cases in jury trials and 10 in bench trials. I also would like you to know that I have practiced in juvenile law. I have had experience in the mental health court, and I've also had experience, like I said, in civil law representing victims of crime. I come before you with the experience necessary to serve as a circuit court judge both in the criminal and civil realm. I also would like you to know that I'm also a mother. I'm a mother of a child with exceptional abilities who is 5 years old and also a cancer survivor. I have life experiences that have propelled me for this opportunity at this time. I am ready to serve as your next circuit court judge in this group, and I welcome your support on or before August 20th of 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Payton. All right, we're going to start with Mr. Mack with the questions, and the question is, who are your judicial role models?
Well, I have a lot of people that are very important to me in my life, but since you're asking me about judicial role models, I'll have to select from among the many, many judges I've been in front of. And every time I appear before a judge, usually I'm sitting there for quite a long time because I have to wait for my case to come up. So I observe. And what other things I like to observe is the interaction the judge has with everybody there, not just the litigants, but also the people in the gallery, you know, the clerks, the bailiffs, the deputy sheriffs, if you will, everyone involved. And what I've liked most about, or what I should say is what I admired, or the judges I admired the most, were the ones that were kind, good people. It's easy to fake courtesy. It's easy to fake patience. But if you observe a judge long enough, you can tell who the good people are. You can tell by the things they say. It's subtle, but it has a profound impact on everybody in the courtroom when you have a good person as a judge.
Thank you. Ms. Payton?
Thank you. I actually have two role models. The first would be Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. She was the first United States Supreme Court justice that was female, and she learned how to teach us how to shatter glass ceilings and bring her own seat to the table when there wasn't one for her to begin with, or any of us that were female. The second is a former local circuit court judge here, and that would be Judge Renee Roche. Judge Roche was a circuit court judge here, and I had the privilege of being assigned to her division when I was practicing in criminal defense work. She was wonderful at just simply calling balls and strikes. She left her personal opinions outside of the courtroom, and she found a way to still rule with compassion and respect, something I would definitely do if I was assigned and elected to be your judge here in the Ninth Circuit, Orange and Osceola County. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Ashton.
Well, one of them's here. Judge Emerson Thompson. I've worked with Judge Thompson for 4 years as an assistant state attorney, and I've had the honor of knowing him for 6 years as a colleague. What I admired most about him was his intelligence and his strength. Judge Thompson was independent, and I think that is one of the most important characteristic of a judge. The other one is Judge Ron Powell, who has left us some years ago. I've always admired him. He was this amazing combination of this brilliant legal mind and this very down-home, approachable, understandable human being. So if there's any role models, those are my two.
Thank you. All right, beginning with you, Ms. Payton. Do you believe there's underrepresentation of women and people of color in the court system? For the record, I did not set up this order.
Oh, but thank you. Absolutely. So I believe that America is a smorgasbord of different races and different genders, and this should be adequately represented in the courtroom. While I believe we've made great strides in this circuit to ensure that there is a judiciary that is born, built, bred, and representative of the members of this community, I do believe more can be made, and you all can help with that. On or before August 20th of 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peyton. Judge Ashton.
You know, we all laugh at the answer, but I do think it's a serious question. Diversity in a judicial system is absolutely vital because people have to understand that all views, all backgrounds, all walks of life are being represented in the judiciary as a whole. I'm very proud to work in a circuit where we have great diversity as it pertains to gender. We are basically just about 50-50, if not
There's more women.
More women? I was going to say that. And I'm proud to work with them. The two areas that we really, I think, fall way behind on is we don't have a significant representation of Hispanic judges. We have some, but we have a community that is largely Hispanic, and they're not completely represented. We need more judges who are also Middle Eastern. We have none. So that's a community we also have to represent. Thank you for not yelling at me.
No problem. I never yell at him much. All right, Mr. Mack.
It's essential for us to have a healthy society, to have a healthy democracy. And that requires every person to feel like they're part of society. They have equal footing, equal access, that they have value equal to everyone else. And whenever you have a group of people that don't have that same access, ultimately you're going to have societal ills. And they express themselves in many, many ways. I'd also like to point out that you have people on the defendant side that tend to be overrepresented in courtrooms. And that's something that needs to be addressed as well, for the same reasons. It causes societal ills when you have underrepresentation and some people don't get a fair shake and equal footing.
Thank you. All right, this question will start with Judge Ashton. Technology is now a daily part of the court system. In fact, the Ninth Circuit leads the state in this area. We've even developed the remote interpreter system that we share with other circuits. Judges conduct remote hearings on a daily basis. The benefits are fairly obvious, but along with those come some issues. What are the issues you see from the widespread use of technology, and do you have any suggestions to fix them or improve them?
Well, I can answer that question with this line that I quote in almost every day. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I feel like I live in a Verizon commercial. Technology is definitely a serious issue. I do want to take a little bit of this time to say something else. I'm running a very untraditional campaign. I'm not raising money, and I'm not spending money. You're not going to get flyers from me. You're not going to get signs from me. You're not going to get solicitations from me, because I believe that judicial independence is the most important thing, and it is under attack, both by special interests, but also by the public in general. They don't trust us because they don't think we're independent. And I present myself to you as a candidate who owes nothing to anybody and never will. Thank you.
Mr. Mack?
Well, technology is here, and its benefits are always going to outstrip any negatives that come with it. And with time and tinkering, technology can really minimize any kind of negatives we have with it. Technology, especially AI, is something that should be embraced by society. I wouldn't want to look at the negatives and eschew any chances we have to adopt the technology to make our lives better. By having this technology, we advance the ease and the breadth of people who can access courts. Access to courts is a fundamental right, and if people need technology to get to court, we just have to figure out how to do it so it's effective.
Thank you. Ms. Peyton?
Thank you. I think one of the areas that can be improved as it relates to the technological advancements that we have here in the Ninth Circuit is to make sure that we understand that not every member of our population can utilize those resources effectively. There are some members of our population that simply just don't understand how to move with the times that fast, and we still need to provide an opportunity for them to have greater access to courts. I think that's a place that the Ninth Circuit can improve. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be before you today. I'm also grateful for the opportunity to run in this race, and I hope to have your support on or before August 20th. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these are your candidates in Group 15 Circuit Court. And now I'm handing off to Judge Whitehead.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is my test to see if you all can hear me. Okay. Can you all hear me? All right. Can you hear me a little better now? Oh, okay. All right. I want to make sure you can hear me. Good afternoon, everyone. All right. Maybe I should sit down and not have to lean in. Okay. Before I call the next group up, I'd like to recognize some people that have been heroes to me and role models for me for a long time. There are some retired judges that they've been on the bench a long time. They're retired now, but they've done a great job and they've served our community very well. I'm willing to say, and I'm not endorsing them because they're not running for anything, but they're four of my favorite judges that I've ever had, and they've been role models throughout my career, and I could always call upon them. The first one is one of our Chief Justices of the Florida Supreme Court, and that's Justice Wells. I think he's here somewhere. Right here. Okay. See, I have the distinct pleasure of being appointed at the same time that Justice Wells was appointed by the same governor. So we were always common in that sense. And then there's a retired District Court of Appeals judge that Judge Ashton has already mentioned. He's always been a great mentor to me, and that's Judge Emerson Thompson. I know he's here somewhere because I saw him. Judge Thompson has been one of the greatest legal minds we've had, and he's served our community very well for a number of years. And then there's a judge that I've worked with for many years, and I can always call a friend and a colleague, and that's our former not Supreme Court Justice, I'm trying to give him credit for it, but a Chief Judge of our Ninth Circuit, and that's Fred Lawton. I know Fred is here somewhere. And Fred, if I'm not mistaken, your first appointment was by the same governor that I was appointed by. So in 1993, correct? Okay, and then there's a gentleman here that I just saw when I walked up here. He's one of my favorite judges, and it's Roger McDonald. He's here. He has always been a true gentleman, so good to see you, Roger. So now we can get back to where we were, Group 37. And we have Jason Willis and Judge Tanya Davis Wilson. And since we're going in alphabetical order, Mr. Willis, you can start with your introductory statement. Yeah, that's right.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Willis, and I'm running for Circuit Court Judge, Group 37. I've been practicing in this community for 10 years. I practice mostly criminal law, but I've also practiced immigration, family law, a lot of different types of civil law, like a little bit of med mal, debt collection defense. So I have an eclectic experience in my legal experience. Prior to that, I grew up in California until the age of 18. I was raised by a single mother who's here today. We sometimes struggled, faced a lot of adversity. We sometimes struggled, faced a lot of adversity, but my mother always did provide for me, and I also, in addition to adversity, I also experienced privilege, and that was sometimes in contact with law enforcement. I don't believe that is appropriate, and I want a justice system where everybody's treated equally, no matter what their background, what they look like, what color of their skin. As a father of biracial children and a multiracial family, I want to make a difference in the system. I see that a lot of people, not only litigants but attorneys as well, have lost faith in the justice system, and the impartiality is not there. I want to be elected by the people, and I'm in this to do good. I'm not I'm not bought by anybody. I'm funding my own campaign, and I will be fair and impartial and recognize and be I hope to be your next circuit court judge here in the Ninth Circuit.
Judge Willis.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm Circuit Judge Tanya Wilson, and I'm running for re-election to the circuit bench in Group 37. I believe that everyone should have a fair chance at justice, no matter their background, no matter their circumstances. And I have over 27 years of experience in the legal system. I started as an assistant public defender here in Orange County. I got my first job with Joe DeRocher. And yes, wonderful person. And after serving there for about 4 years in front of Judge Lawton, I must say, I moved to the Federal Defender's Office, still here in the Middle District of Florida. I left the Public Defender's Office or the Federal Defender's Office after having survived colon cancer, so that was a blessing. I moved to the U.S. Attorney's Office, where I prosecuted federal cases for 10.5 years. And while I was doing a closing argument in the middle of a mortgage fraud case, I received an appointment to the to the county bench. As a county court judge, I started in criminal, and I enjoyed that very much, and then had the opportunity to move into circuit. I was a family court judge, and now I'm serving in Osceola County on the criminal bench. So I have an extensive amount of experience as a judge and as an attorney. And so how does that translate for this community? I have spent my entire career in public service, and I want to continue to do that because, like I said, everyone deserves that fair shot, but I have the knowledge and the experience necessary to make sure that our courts uphold the law and that we treat victims and defendants, plaintiffs and respondents with dignity, honor, professionalism, and respect. And I would appreciate your vote on or before August 20th. Thank you.
Okay, Judge Wilson, first question is, what is your vision for the future of our judicial system?
My vision for the future of our judicial system is for it to be representative of the community that it serves. In addition, for us to earn your trust, earn your respect, but the only way that can be done is if we are respectful to you and if we are proven to be trustworthy. So hopefully, the bench will, like I said, look like us, will treat you fairly and with respect, and that we will have the knowledge to be able to resolve those disputes that are important to you, because that's what you deserve as a citizen in the circuit.
Mr. Willis?
Restoring faith in the justice system primarily, but secondary, which I think is very important, is embracing technology, because I believe that technology can improve our efficiency in the justice system that's ever growing. We see the explosion of growth here in Osceola and Orange. We need to embrace the technology to better provide access to the court system and reduce costs for the judicial system. But back to restoring faith in the justice system, I feel that that's an issue that we have to work on. In this world of partisan politics, it seems like we need to reverse course and really pay attention to what the people want and why people don't trust our government institutions now.
Okay, Mr. Willis, this is the second question for you here. What do you perceive as the greatest obstacles to justice?
I believe that partisan politics...
Move that microphone.
I'm sorry. I believe that partisan politics is probably one of the greatest obstacles to the justice system right now. There are so many things. The judicial system, even though we say this is nonpartisan, it can't be held. We can't deny the fact that it's been tainted by partisan politics. I think that we really need to reverse course on that and really put people in there that are not just appointed by a partisan governor or whoever, but elected by the people.
Judge Wilson? Judge Wilson?
Yes. Obstacles to the judicial system stem from access. And when I say access, I mean an individual like we've said, our Hispanic population is booming, but other cultures are finding Central Florida to be their home. And so the access issue is, are they able to talk to the judge, and is the judge able to talk back to them? Will they understand us? Will we be able to understand them? So we need to focus on the funding for interpreters. When you have that funding for the interpreters, not just in criminal court, but in those courts that are not due process courts, like family court. When you have a family case, they have disputes, they get divorced, they have child support issues as well. They need to be able to tell us what their dispute is, and we need to be able to respond. So the biggest obstacle right now would be a lack of funding for us to be able to offer the non-due process courts an opportunity to have those family and the interpreters to talk to us. Thank you.
Yeah. Judge Wilson, this is a two-part question, so you may not be able to answer both parts of it, but we'll give it a shot. What has been your greatest accomplishment in your legal career and in your personal life?
Do I have to take it in that order?
So it's completely up to you.
Okay. Greatest accomplishment in my personal life. I think it would be overcoming cancer. 3 days before my 33rd birthday, I found out that I had colon cancer. It had not grown outside the colon. It had grown outside the colon wall, but had not metastasized. So I had to deal with that. I wasn't married. I didn't know if I was going to be able to have any children. And so that was a big stressor for me. Overcame it, and I've been cancer-free since September 12th of 2001. Yay! For the legal career, the greatest accomplishment was the letter I received from the University of Florida, Levin College of Law, saying, "Tanya, you are admitted." I grew up without a mentor, no lawyer mentor, no judge mentor. No one in our family was a judge. I literally am the first one in the Davis, Brewington, Wilson family to be a judge, and that's been a greatest legal accomplishment.
Mr. Willis?
In my career, I would say just simply becoming an attorney, honestly, because where I came from, I grew up, as a teenager, I was homeless at one point. Like I said, we struggled. I didn't have anybody that went to college in my family, much less a judge, or went to grad school. The fact that I'm here today as an attorney and now a candidate for judge is kind of mind-blowing sometimes. In my personal life, I guess my wife and my kids are everything. My oldest is in the Navy. He's been in there for 5 years now. His ship was actually even attacked recently, but he's back home safe.
Mike.
He's back home safe. But my kids are great. They're my inspiration for making this world a better place and doing what I do.
Well, let's give both of them a round of applause. Now we will move to the circuit group number 43, which is Stephen Brown and Judge Craig McCarthy. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
And Mr. Brown, we'll start with your opening statement.
I gotta get notes out. I can't memorize stuff like that. Okay. So, my name is Stephen Brown. I am running for Circuit Court Judge, Group 43. I've been a practicing lawyer here in the Ninth Circuit for the last 17 years. I'm the only candidate in my race that has ever tried a case before a jury, and I've done it more than 70 times. I'm also the only candidate in my race that has criminal law experience, which I've done as both a prosecutor and a defense attorney, which I think most people would agree is important for our community. On top of that, I've practiced at some point or another in every division of the circuit court, which is the family, criminal, civil, juvenile, and probate divisions. I know I don't have to tell this group this, but I'm going to anyway. Now more than ever, we are learning the importance of paying careful attention of who we are getting as judges. And fortunately in the state system, the voters have a say. I'm running to put my experience to work for my community, but also to ensure that the courts remain neutral and free of political influence. And I would appreciate your taking a look at both candidates and making the decision that is best for you. Thank you.
Judge McCarthy.
Good afternoon. I am Circuit Judge Craig McCarthy, and I want to say how honored I am to be here. This group, the League of Women Voters, is the most engaged, the most informed, the most passionate voters in our community. I'm the first in my family to ever go to college. And I've never been politically connected. So the fact that I'm here is kind of amazing to me, and I wish that my grandmother were here to see this. So thank you for having us. I've practiced law since 1995. I've been on the bench as a circuit judge for 2 years now. The year prior to that, I was a general magistrate. So I've presided over juvenile delinquency docket. I've presided over juvenile dependency docket, and now domestic relations or family. I'm a West Point graduate, I'm an Army veteran, and board certified in juvenile law. I made a career out of representing parents who are caught up in the system with the Department of Children and Families, and many hundreds of children who are in foster care. Let me just tell you, when I was a brand new lawyer, my very first job where I learned to litigate was in domestic violence court. My clients were 100% women. And I handled DV injunctions and divorces for them, and that's where I learned early on that moment when you can see in an abusive spouse's eyes, that moment of recognition when he suddenly knows the power dynamic that he had counted on all that time has just dissolved because of a good advocate in the courtroom. I've taken that, I've grabbed onto it. My wife and I have built a law firm around that ethos of protecting the vulnerable, being in the corner of those who need a little courage. And that's how I approach my time on the bench as well. Thank you.
Okay, the first question, Judge McCarthy, you will answer this question. Please describe your judicial philosophy.
My philosophy is that I'm fortunate that the Florida legislature makes my job relatively simple. Note, I didn't say easy, but simple in that if I don't already know what to do, I've got this great set of books that the legislature has taken the time to write and provide for me called Florida statutes. And my philosophy, sir, is to open it up, make sure I know what it tells me to do, and then do it, and apply it to the set of facts before me. That's a comfort to me, because it takes the burden of being infallible, which I am not, off my shoulders. So I simply follow the law, sir.
Mr. Brown?
I believe that judges not only need to follow the law, I think probably every candidate that's ever sat in front of the League of Women Voters has said, I will follow the law. But they have to really believe in our court system and our democracy. The reason I decided to run for this office is because my opponent wrote a book in which he professed that he had lost faith in the court system
and that everyone who read the book should also have no faith in the court system. And then he went through a number of cases that he disagreed with. I'm not going to mention specific ones at this point, but that's why it's very, very important to look at who is being appointed from Tallahassee to be our judges here in Central Florida. Our judges in Central Florida should match our values in Central Florida.
Okay, Mr. Brown, you will go first with this question. Briefly describe a case or a legal issue on which you work that you are particularly proud of, or which is reflective of your legal ability and work.
There are so many, and actually some of them I tried in front of you many years ago. When I was a prosecutor, honestly, I can't pick a case. There were so many victims that I had to stay up with at night, talking to them the night before trial, that didn't believe that they were going to get justice. And so every single time that a jury came back, and I believed, which generally I would, that the jury made the right decision and justice was being done, those are the times that I am most proud of.
Judge?
As a defense attorney, before I was on the bench, I'm proud of some of the work I've done in termination of parental rights trials, or TPR. TPR is called the death penalty of civil law because it ends a family, it ends a legal relationship between a parent and a child. I won't and can't name any names, but the ones that I won that looked like long shots, where everything was stacked against, and I was able to restore a family when they thought all was lost. I'm very proud of that. I had a very high-profile case. It was some years ago. A young lady named Rivka Barry came from the state of Ohio, claiming that she had to flee her family because of a religious conversion. I'm proud of it because I represented Rivka's mom, and that brought a lot down on me, a lot of criticism, a lot of pressure. I'm proud of it because I just followed the facts, and I think we got a good result.
Okay, the third question, Judge McCarthy, you'll go first with this, is judges find themselves with significant caseloads. What can a judge do to move the calendar without undermining the judicial process?
The innovations that I've made, and I'm not professing to have come up with them on my own, the judges do talk to one another. I work very closely, I'm in the family division now, so I work very closely with our case managers who work out of the self-help center, and I engage them a lot, I meet with them, and I've expanded the number of cases where I identify that there really are not significant conflicts or points of disagreement between the parties. And so I've increased the number of what we call uncontested matters. Our population has grown more so than the resources in the court have, so this is always a challenge. But I do things like that, put more things on an uncontested docket, and I'm always looking for ways to be more efficient.
Ms. Brown?
I think that the most effective way to work through court dockets is to actually have court 5 days a week. My opponent has not had court on Friday for 3, 4, 5, as far as back as I could look on the court's calendar. He's a public servant, and I will be a public servant, and we should be working 5 days a week for the salary that you all are paying. On top of that, judges have to work hard to get through their orders and paperwork, and that may involve working more than 9 to 5. So if you have court all day, then you should go home. I'm sorry, judges, you may disagree, and start writing.
Let's give them a round of applause. At this time, can I get all the candidates to come to the front? At this time, we're going to open the forum to the league members to ask questions. Gina Hall is at a mic to my left to facilitate your answers, or these questions rather. Please raise your hand if you need the mic to come to you, to be brought to you so you can ask the question. After the question and answer session, please remain in your seats for some important league announcements. Please remember that judicial candidates are limited to discussing certain issues and subjects. Canon 7 states in part that candidates should not make pledges or promises of conduct in office other than their faithful and impartial performance of the duties of their office. Nor are they allowed to announce their views on disputed legal or political issues or any issues that may take place in front of them in the future. Further, judicial candidates may choose not to answer questions that may put them or their family members in danger. This includes answering personal questions about their children, their family members, or any questions that may jeopardize their personal security. Gina?
Thank you. Before we start the questions, I have two announcements. One is, for those of you that are wondering when Vote 411 is going to go live, we've been told it will be sometime next week. So you can check for candidate information on Vote 411 starting next week. And secondly, if you ordered a shirt from me, I'll be at the table, the check-in table, to distribute shirts after this meeting. If you have a question, or when you ask your question, I respect, since there are so many candidates here, ask it to a person, because we don't have time for everybody to answer the question. So, Charlie?
Okay, thank you, Gina. Well, thank you all for your introductions on your both professional and personal sides. I just have a very simple question, and maybe you could raise your hand to indicate if you are a member of the Federalist Society.
I would say that, first of all, I do work 7 days a week. By the way, Fridays is my writing day. It's also my day for emergency motions and for anything that got continued. So, when I was in law school, I was a member of the Federal Society. It was the only organization I knew at Florida State College of Law that had debate events with both sides, and I found it valuable. I was never again a member until after I was appointed to the bench. I did join for calendar year 2023 because I started joining a lot of civic organizations. I did not renew at the end of that year. So in law school and in 1 year after I was appointed a judge, I have been a member, sir.
Anybody else? No? No.
Hello. Thanks for taking my question. I wonder what your opinion of Project 2025 is, and whether or not you think that it might in any way, or how it might influence you in any decisions that you make. I think maybe specifically Judge Ashton and Judge McCarthy.
Well, I think I should speak for all of us to say we would not be permitted to discuss that, because there may be aspects of that that become the subject of something we have to litigate. If that's my opinion, and I don't know if anybody disagrees with that, but with all due respect, I just don't think that's something that we would be allowed to talk about under our canon of ethics. So I apologize.
Yes.
Sure.
So let's recall the legislation. Whenever the legislature does something, I always presume they're doing it for the purpose that they exist, which is to advance society, to make our lives better. That is the role of government. The role of government is to make sure society prospers and thrives. And I will always presume the law does that, unless the legislature says it's designed to hurt everybody. You decide what the purpose of that legislation is. Which one is it?
I think that was directed specifically at myself, ma'am, so I wanted to answer. I have no idea what's in it. I think I heard of it for the very first time on Twitter like 2 days ago. But I agree with Judge Ashton. If it does go to public policy, then I wouldn't have any role in voicing an opinion on it, ma'am.
I only speak up because I'm the oldest. I figure it's my job.
I have a friend who just retired from being the head of a state penitentiary system, not Florida, Pennsylvania. And I asked him, I said, if you were in complete control of the world, what would you do with our prison systems? And he said, Susan, it's kind of sad, but I believe that probably 95% of the people that are in prison systems shouldn't have been there, that they made a bad decision early in their life. And our system created and made them criminals. And I heard some real heartfelt things from all of you today, and county judges are summit. Tomorrow I'm taking a worker who's lost his license from drinking, and that was a bad thing, drunk driving. I don't know how drunk he was, but he lost his license and he's lost his job because he can't get there. Is there a way, or I'm hearing some compassion from a lot of you, to help change this system where and I guess I'm going to just summarize it to something quick. I believe, and I'd like to hear your opinion, of our having privatized prisons, because I feel like they are only motivated to have more criminals and to have people stay longer. So would anyone be willing to address that? I see a judge.
Okay. As far as... Sorry. Is that better? As far as the privatized prisons, I don't think that we can really comment on that. It seems like a kind of a political issue and for the legislature to decide. I'm sorry. On the subject of the penalties and stuff that impact people's lives, I think that as a judge we can promote those cases that are deserving or first-time, especially like first-time offenders, to the specialty courts that don't have all those penalties and repercussions, or have a way to have them avoid that possible conviction and that stain on their life.
I also want to address it to your question about diversion. I think it's really important, as a person who has created diversion programs at the state attorney's office when I was a prosecutor, I think there are a lot of great diversion programs that would help rehabilitate first-time offenders. However, I don't know if our judges, know the specifics enough about it, and certainly the education to the public. As Judge Wilson indicated earlier, the judge's ability to communicate to the general public is really important, and a lot of these people that come to court don't speak the language or don't understand the language. So I think in order to educate the population about the possible diversion programs that could help them, they also need to be available in different languages so that it could reach and touch more people out there. Thank you.
I'm going to move on so we have...
Thank you. I'm going to significantly limit the field of questions to only the county court candidates at this point. As a lawyer who practices significantly in county and small claims court, I saw that post-pandemic we have exponentially expanded access to the court by using Zoom court, by using magistrates. Is that the kind of thing that you would seek to continue to improve access to court for people who generally would have a hard time getting to court, getting there on time, following the directions? Are we kind of following that same path, is my question.
I would absolutely love to explore technology. In addition to, remote hearings and offering that, I would also love to, create videos that we can post, so that litigants, before they come to court, know what to expect. For example, coming to pretrial conference, if you've never been to court before, you don't know what to expect. I think short videos that we can put on YouTube so that people understand what they, are coming to court to do. Arraignments, it would be lovely to have that video on so that they can watch it at home instead of having to watch it right before their case is being called when they're so nervous and they're about to face a judge that they've never seen or heard from before. So I would love to explore opportunities for technology as a judge.
Having been a county court judge for 12 years, in county criminal, if you don't speak English, we are required by law to provide you with an interpreter. So I know that was mentioned earlier, but there might be some confusion there. It doesn't matter what language in the world you speak, we will get you an interpreter. We also do play videos in multiple languages prior to arraignments and some of the other hearings. I actually helped draft the script for those about 4 years ago with a couple of other county judges. With regards to the remote hearings, obviously the court shut down for a brief period of time during COVID. Is this better? All right. And I actually did the pilot program for Cisco, what we use now as Cisco. I was the first judge to have my courtroom outfitted with Cisco so that we could do remote hearings. And during the pandemic, I was the first one to do remote hearings with Cisco. I was the first one to have my courtroom wired. We spent a tremendous amount of money to retrofit our courtrooms to do things virtually, and it would be a step in the wrong direction to get away from virtual hearings. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it back to Lee or Kathy.
Well, the candidates can take their seats now. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
As my dear brother, Fred Lawton, has informed me that he saved my life today, because he pointed out the fact that I have two sisters on the bench that are here that I didn't recognize as retired judges. And one of them came on the bench and was appointed at the same time I was appointed. That's Cindy McKinnon, so she's here. Okay. And then Judge Maura Smith is here also. Where is she? There she is. They both know I love them. You know, they do know that, so I don't even have to tell them, but publicly you all know I love you and you love me, so I would not be remiss in doing that. Now we're going to turn it over to the President, Reverend Kathy Smits. Thank you.
All right, well, I want to thank you all for being here, and especially thank our wonderful moderators, the Honorable Judges Leticia Marques and Reginald Whitehead. Thank you. And of course, to all of our candidates, we really appreciate your presence here with us today. It has been, yes, one more. I think it has been very informative, and I personally appreciate the opportunity to experience each of you personally. It brings you to life off of the bio page. As helpful as and important as that is, it helps us give an idea of how you are going to be in front of the people that come before you. I hope that you all learned a lot and that you found some inspiration along the way. We have some calls to action for what League of Women Voter members from Orange County can do. First, prepare for the election season. Make sure you are registered, you have a plan, and volunteer to help get out the vote by visiting lwvoc.org and the volunteer page to see what you can do. And a reminder, vote by mail requests must be received by August 8th at 5 p.m. for the August primary. If you have not reapplied since 2022 and want to vote by mail, you need to do so. And as Gina mentioned, we have 411 coming soon. Please take a look at that when it comes out next week. We'll obviously be setting it out everywhere, but tell others that this is their trusted source of information on local elections. Please sign the clean water petitions that are on your table. Yes, we are collecting them already for the 2026 ballot. We are looking ahead. Please take a look at the QR code, scan that, either on the slide or on your tables. We value your input on today's event, so please let us know what we're doing well and what we can improve. And a special thank you to Cuisineurs and Winter Park Event Center for this space and for the wonderful food. And and to TJ McCauley of X-Ray Studios for filming and editing of Hot Topics so that they're available at lwvoc.org and on the League YouTube channel. This is a great way to share the information with people who haven't had the opportunity to be here today. Just a note that there is no Hot Topics overtime today. And next month, August 14th, our topic you won't want to miss is civil discourse, not civil war. And you can register starting now. All right, we have a couple of upcoming events. Please be sure to look at the materials on your table and to look at the display tables. Please notice the flyer for Unified Voices Summit for Educational Freedom, which is happening this weekend. There's a flyer on the table that our state league is involved in that. There's a virtual new members welcome on July 16th at 6 p.m. That's July 16th. That will really help new members figure out where they can plug into the important work of the league. And just in case you didn't hear me say it already, the vote by mail deadline is August 8th at 5 o'clock. Please tell everyone you know. If you are not a member of the league, we do hope you will consider joining us, and we hope everyone will volunteer, donate, and bring your friends. And with that, in spite of an incredibly full program, we are adjourned on time.